Hello, this is Neil from iPaintGirls.com, and we're going to go over more comic book noses and the way to simplify. And so I have some other noses here that I did on the video I was recording, but then I lost it. I figured I don't want to redo them because I'm going to make a reference sheet. I'm actually going to save this and put it on the website under the written tutorial section, and then I'm also going to put it on my gallery and stuff, so that way people have this reference sheet to look back on. But you don't want to just memorize like how to do noses and stuff, because you want to know what you're doing and why you're reducing them. And so that's why I'm making this video. These videos is to show how to reduce noses and why you're reducing them. So remember, there's different parts of the nose. So you have your nostrils. Make sure I have my pen here. So I'm gonna just go over the different parts of the nose really quick. You have your nostrils out here. Then you have your well, you have your nostril flares rather. Then you have your actual nostrils. And typically when people draw nostrils, they kind of do this like that, and they kind of do a little dark part like that. And this would be all shaded in. So just a way to simplify nostrils. Okay, then you have the top part. So let's actually draw the little lines there for the, so that's the flare side. And then you have this top part of the nose, the button part of your nose here, and it's kind of shaped like this usually. So that's the button part of your nose, and it kind of comes up like, let's say like that. Just depends on the person. Usually just kind of blends right into this part of the nose up here, like so. Then you have these nostril parts here. Then you have the side planes, which are here, and these typically either get lit up with light or with shadow, depends where the light's coming from. If it's coming from straight down, then they're both going to be with shadow, and then this part here will be lit up with light. And then all this under here is going to be in shadow because we're at the top, right? So you have these two flares, your nostrils, the button part of your nose, this bridge part, and then the sides of the bridge. So the bridge is, let's say shaped like that. Right. Just get a big eraser. Okay, then you have this little part down here. I can't remember what this is called, but this little piece of skin that's underneath the button part of your nose, and this is typically shaded in, and that connects to the nostrils, and the nostrils connect to it. It also connects to, and it's part of, it's the upper part of the philtrum. I hope I'm saying that right. Like that, then then your lips would be down here, right? So it's important to remember those different parts. That way, while we're minimizing the nose, you know what these parts are, and why we're drawing certain lines. It's to represent those parts of the nose. And maybe I should just keep that as part of the reference sheet, eh? Something to look at. I don't know. I'll put it somewhere on here. Put it way down here or something for now. Okay. So now we can see then the different styles and how to simplify the nose, what to focus on. This nose here, it focuses on this bottom line, focuses on that bottom part of the nose I mentioned, the beginning of the philtrum, the outside of the flares, and then just the part of the button right there. That's all it focuses on. It doesn't have lines for the nostrils or anything. Of course, you could draw the lines for the nostril flares if you wanted. That's all up to you. You could, emphasize the button part by drawing little lines like that. And so those are different styles, but different kinds of noses. This style of the nose focuses more on the philtrum for its main solid outline lines, and then just the nostrils pretty much, and then just that little line there to differentiate from this bottom part of the nose and then the button part of the nose. Some styles just do nostrils, and that's it. So you could do that sometimes, especially if the people are really far away, but you have to be careful not to make them look like pigs. So just kind of draw the nostrils like that, really small little things, and then you won't run into that problem. They're kind of angled like that. There's on Blood, the Last Vampire, there's a few times where they do nostrils and they kind of look like she kind of has a pig nose. Another is to just focus on the button part of the outside of the flare of the nostril and the button part of the nose, as you can see there, and it's ignoring all this bottom part down here. So that's why it looks a lot flatter. And then you can just maybe draw a line like that for the thing, and then you can draw that bottom part if you wanted to, and then maybe just hand out other things. And sometimes it's just this here. You just literally just have a shape like that, and then you can do a shadow if you want. underneath it, depends where the shadow is coming from. This one here is kind of complicated to draw, and I don't like using the style because it always looks kind of funny. But basically, they draw the nose according to the way the light's coming. So the light's coming from this way, right? And based on that, they're drawing the shadow of the nose here, and then they're just focusing, their outline is just on that bottom part of the nose, the beginning of the philtrum, up to the nostril, and then the nostril flare, then just one nostril and a little bit of the nostril flare like that. So that is something you can do. From this view, we already went through this one here, is that you don't focus on the part of the philtrum that goes to the lip, but you focus on just the nostril. So the shape that you focus on is just that. Oops, kind of like that. I kind of messed up. Anyway, you get the idea. You just focus on that shape like that. Right. This one here is a little different, as you can see. You focus on the philtrum in this part of the nose, and then you just have the nostril coming off of that, and then just the top part of the nostril. Now, another variation of that is you could then have this part coming off to the nostril like that. And a lot of people do that when they do this kind of nose, is they, I guess I'll have that as another type of nose. You can come down with your nose, and then, have that part there. And then when you do the nostril, you can kind of come like so. So they kind of go like that. Actually, I don't like the way that nose came out at all. Let's do that again. And then they'd have the nostril, and then the nostril would come up to the part of the flare like that. So that's another way. A slight variation of that, and I'll do a slightly different kind of nose for this variation to show this style, is kind of come out like that. Then you just have a little tip. This is sort of a kind of a stuck-up nose, but it is kind of cute. Kind of a maybe the way the Buffy the Vampire's nose was. And then there's two little lines like that. And then you come down with that part just like that nose. The difference is that you have this line that comes from right here, and it kind of comes out like that where it's going to be the nostril. And then you have the little nostril right there. And then you'd have just that top part, or you could come all the way down like that if you wanted to, or just that top part. Another slight variation of this one, and these are all used, you'll see all these in comic books. And so notice they're just, each artist is picking out the different parts that he wants to, the different parts of the shapes of the nose that he wants to represent with the lines. Another one is like this. It's very similar. I'll do a slightly different shape nose too for it, just to kind of emphasize the shape. Will kind of come out like that. This is like a really stylized, cartoonish kind of nose. But it comes in way over here, because the part this nose is emphasizing is it's representing the outside of the philtrum rather than the inside, and the inside would be drawn too as a separate thinner line usually, and that would come down to where you have your upper lip like that. And then the nostril in the flare is done like this. It's done inside here, remember, because it starts from over here within the nose. It kind of comes like this, and then you'd kind of come out like so, and then come down where you have your nostril. And then you can, have the flare part. And again, you can do that differently where you just have the top part, and like that one over there. So it's similar to this, except for you extend and come all the way over here. And this is like a really cartoonish kind of button nose. It's kind of an ugly nose actually, the way I did it. I'm gonna make it a little bit more cute. Okay. So that covers a lot of the styles you're going to see in comic books. And you have the same kind of styles for the side view. There's really no reason to draw all the side views because the same styles, they're pretty much the same as a 3/4 view. But it does change just a little bit. So let's say you have your side view nose like this. And again, you can focus on that line down there if you wanted to or not. But the nostril is typically going to be like this. So it's more slanted down from a side view than. But that's pretty much all that changes from side views. All the other stuff applies. So you could just draw, the little nostril in that line. Depends on how much of that line you want to show up. You can just focus on the nostril part and then the flare, whatever. Okay, so other than these pretty much like I said, covers all the main styles you're going to see in comic books, the ways to reduce and what parts to focus on. But there is a few like top-down views and looking up at the character, looking down at the character. When you look down at the character, you're not going to see any of this bottom part down here. So when you're looking down at the character, the nose is going to be pretty much like this over here. You're just going to see kind of like this shape when you're looking down at the nose. Then you might, draw the little lines like that, and that's it. Then you might, draw a shadow underneath it, whatever. That's all you're going to see from that. And if it's an up view, you might just see the nostrils, and that's it. And maybe, the top part of the nose like that, and maybe you can draw the little curves like that. Up view, they almost always end up looking like pigs. It's really hard not to make people look like pigs when you're looking up at the nose. So some artists, are really careful with the way they draw noses when you're looking up at the character. Like they might just have that shape like that, and then a little bit of shadowing, whatever. And don't do the nostrils are. If you do the nostrils, make sure they're very thin, like little thin lines. Okay, this